That's what it is. That's how our system works. That's how the market economy works in this country. And the cost without insurance, here's what the US does. And this is China has cured diabetes. And the US, I'm sure, will want nothing to do with it. The US will absolutely not want to be a part of this Chinese diabetes cure. World's first diabetes cure with cell therapy achieved in China. In a groundbreaking medical achievement, a team of Chinese scientists and clinicians has reportedly cured a patient of diabetes using cell therapy for the first time. The patient, a 59-year-old man who had endured type 2 diabetes for 25 years. So this is not like a guy that developed diabetes a week earlier and then they were like, we were able to stop it. This is 25 years of diabetes. And diabetes is one of the most common illnesses, difficulties that Americans have. Diabetes is big in the United States. In fact, as China is curing diabetes, the U.S. is actually manufacturing diabetes. The U.S. does an amazing job of manufacturing diabetes in people. The U.S., really, that's what we should brag back. China's like, we cured diabetes. And we're like, oh, yeah, China, we found a way to manufacture diabetes way back when the first McDonald's was founded. Okay? So we've been pumping it out. You got nothing on us. Decades ago, we started manufacturing it. Anyway, this 59-year-old man was facing severe complications from the disease. Despite receiving a kidney transplant in 2017, he had lost most of his pancreatic islet function, which I'm not a doctor, so don't know much about what that means, which is crucial for regulating blood glucose levels, and was dependent on multiple daily insulin injections. This is a professor who says at the University of British Columbia, says, I think the study represents an important advance in the field of cell therapy for diabetes. One step closer. In July 2021, the patient underwent the cell transplant. Just 11 weeks later, he no longer required external insulin. And within a year, his need for oral medication to control blood sugar levels was completely eliminated. And he's been diabetes-free for like 30 weeks or something. They've cured diabetes in China. And if we were responsible adult nation, not fucking children, not a vomitous U.S. empire puking up leaders like Donald Trump and Joe Biden, if we were an actual responsible adult human beings, we would go, wow, that's really beneficial for humanity. It's really good for that guy, but it's also good for everybody who suffers from diabetes around the world. And we should work with China to make sure that this cure is given to everybody who needs it, right? That's how adult, not morally bankrupt, people who have a moral savings account in their soul, that's how they would behave. Here's what the U.S. does. And this is news from 2018. I wrote an article about it. Here's what the U.S. does with curing diseases such as diabetes. In a private investor memo that was leaked, Wall Street admitted curing disease is bad for business and told their top-level investors not to invest in curing diseases such as diabetes. A Goldman analyst asked clients, here's a quote from the Goldman Sachs note, is curing patients a sustainable business model? The potential to deliver, quote, one-shot cures is one of the most attractive aspects of gene therapy. However, such treatments offer a very different outlook with regard to recurring revenue, which is definitely what you should think about when you're thinking about curing disease. Recurring revenue versus chronic therapies. While this proposition carries tremendous value for patients and society, but who gives a shit about that, right? It could represent a challenge for genome medicine developers looking for sustained cash flow. This was a very slightly coded message to top investors, meaning the richest of the rich who fund a lot of research, right? Telling them don't invest in one-shot cures for all kinds of diseases because you won't get good money back. You won't make the cha-ching. You won't make the bling from curing diseases. Instead, you just have a happy person who no longer suffers and they walk away happy. And what does that do for your bank account, right? Well, how's that going to help my bank account? Okay, so you no longer have diabetes and you have all your limbs. But what does that do for me? What's that? How does that make me richer? This was real. This was a leaked memo. This is not. Now, this is something I would say that Wall Street doesn't want to cure disease, but this is them saying they don't want to cure disease. This is Wall Street, one of the top investment firms saying, don't invest in cures. There's another example where that I've highlighted before where they came out with a cure for blindness, a cure for a certain kind of blindness. And it was a one-shot cure. It was one shot that could give people the ability to see who had never seen before. And the cost without insurance was somewhere between $600 and I think it was either $600 or $800,000 per eye. Now, most people in America do not have insurance that would cover anywhere near that. So really what people are doing is they're holding your vision for ransom. What Wall Street's doing. They're holding and big health insurance and big health care and all that bullshit. They're taking a blind child and holding their vision for ransom. That's what it is. That's how our system works. That's how the market economy works in this country. And of course, it's not just vision, right? It goes for everything. They hold your health for ransom. They hold your life for ransom. They say, hey, with the cancer, certain kind of cancers, they often say, hey, if you got loads of money, then we probably can save your life. If you don't have loads of money, then this is probably the end for you. So they're taking your life and they're holding it for ransom. And this is how our system works. This is unfettered capitalism, ravenous, insane capitalism.